All right, so today's video, we're going over a fragrance from the house of Rasasi. This fragrance was actually sent to me for free by Intense Oud. So definitely shouts out to Intense Oud for sponsoring this video. I'll have a link in the description to where you can purchase this fragrance if you choose to. And this fragrance here, again, is from the house of Rasasi. This is a part of their Tawleefa Collection. And this is called Dorar. All right, so you can see that there. We've got Dorar. It's like a little sticker, it kind of feels like, on the front of the box. You got the Tawleefa Collection down here. Nothing on either side of the box and nothing on the top or the bottom. And then on the back, that's where you have like the ingredients, the barcode, everything like that. All right, and then the way that you open this part is just kind of like a sleeve that slides off, and then the fragrance itself kind of sits inside of the gold part here. And you just open this up. Then this is the fragrance. I do really like the way that the bottle actually looks. It does feel pretty good in the hand as well. It's just a really kind of simplistic, you know, sort of slim design, but I do really like it a lot. And the cap on this is definitely, it's going to be like a real lightweight, cheap sort of plastic type of cap. But the sprayer on this, just like, you know, any other Rasasi, is pretty decent. All right. So you've got the Dorar, and this is a eau de parfum. You got that written here on the front of the bottle. There's nothing like written on the top of the cap or anything like that. And then on the bottom, you've got a Rasasi sticker. It says Tawleefa Collection, and it's got some other stuff written in Arabic. All right. So if you're not familiar with, you know, this fragrance or the notes of this fragrance, in the top notes of Dorar, you have galbanum, Italian red mandarin orange, pineapple, and plum. And then in the mid notes, you have Indonesian patchouli, lily of the valley, Moroccan artemisia, orris root, rose, and ylang ylang. And then in the base, you have ambergris, Indian oud, leather, musk, tonka bean, vanilla, and woody notes. So the way that this fragrance smells is, to me, it opens up with like this really fresh, you know, juicy, sort of fruity opening. So you get a lot of that, you know, sort of mandarin orange, the pineapple, the plum. You get that straight off the bat. And also, I mean, when you first spray this on as well, this does not smell, it's not like you're not getting an alcohol blast or anything like that. This is very much, you know, a smooth fragrance when you initially spray it on. And like I said, you get a lot of that, like the mandarin orange in this is not like a super sort of sweet mandarin orange. To me, it does come off as being a little bit like on the tart side. And then, you know, you are getting some sweetness from the pineapple and the plum. Now, also, the main thing that you're going to get as the fragrance starts to dry down is you're going to get a heavy dose of that galbanum and the patchouli. And I mean, I would say for some, maybe the way that the galbanum and the patchouli are done in this fragrance, it maybe will kind of, you know, it come off as like a more of a mature type of scent. This to me is definitely not like, this isn't a fragrance that I could see like 18 to like 24-year-olds wearing or anything like that. This is definitely going to be like 25 to 30 plus, in my opinion. But it does smell really good. This to me is like, this is going to be a fragrance that I would more so kind of wear this fragrance more so like dressed up. So maybe like as a work fragrance, you know, maybe a fragrance, you know, if I were like doing some sort of speaking engagement, or going to some type of ceremony, this would more so kind of be, you know, in my opinion, a good choice, you know, for a fragrance to kind of wear. Something where you want to be taken a little bit more seriously and not necessarily like a casual type of scent. You know, again, it does have a slightly sort of fruity, sort of fresh opening to the fragrance. But really, after like the first couple of minutes, that definitely gets overtaken by the galbanum and the patchouli. And the galbanum in this is like really kind of like smoky. So the fragrance definitely, it has like this kind of fruity, yet at the same time smoky and earthy type of feel to it. And like I said, at least for me anyway, that is what kind of gives me a slightly more like mature type of feel to the fragrance. It's definitely, you know, that smoky sort of galbanum and the, you know, the earthy sort of patchouli feel that you get from this. Now, at the same time, even though this is a, you know, sort of smoky, earthy, you know, fruity type of fragrance, it does still have like a really nice freshness to it. So this is not like a super like dense sort of fragrance where like, you know, it would become headache inducing. Like at least the times that I've worn this fragrance, it never really became like too much for me. It never was like super thick. It was never cloying. It always just kind of came off as, you know, slightly fruity, slightly smoky, slightly fresh, you know, kind of like a mixture of those things. You could also say that this does kind of have like a slightly sort of musky element to it as well. And the thing that I do like about this fragrance is, even though, yes, the oud and the leather are detectable in this fragrance, this does not come across as like it doesn't come across as super oudy or super leathery either. Which, you know, if any of you all know, you know, me in terms of my taste when it comes to fragrances, leather is definitely not, you know, necessarily my favorite note when it comes to fragrances. And neither is oud. I mean, definitely I'm open to some oud fragrances, you know, just depending on how they're done. But I think the way that the oud and the leather are done in this fragrance, like I said, it blends well with everything else that's going on in the fragrance, to where it doesn't come off as like an oud fragrance or like a super leathery type of fragrance. So overall, man, I do actually like this one a lot. Now, this fragrance is, to me, the versatility on it is not super high. Like I said, to me, this comes across as being more of sort of like a work scent, or just a scent that you would wear where you want to be taken, you know, more seriously, or, you know, when you're dressed more, you know, sort of, you know, when you're dressed up a little bit more. That's more so what this kind of comes across as. Like, you know, you're wearing a suit, you're wearing, you know, dress shoes, slacks, something like that, you know what I mean? I think any occasion where you would dress like that would be a good occasion to wear a fragrance like this. Now, this also, to me, comes across as a fragrance that you could definitely wear in, you know, any sort of weather. So it is strong enough to where it is, you know, able to kind of cut through cooler weather from what I can smell, you know, when it comes to this fragrance. You know, obviously I haven't worn this in cooler weather as of yet because it's not cool out here yet in Vegas, but this does have enough strength, in my opinion, that, you know, you could wear this in the wintertime and you would still be able to smell it. It would still have, you know, some projection, but it's not too dense to the point where you couldn't wear this in the summer, the spring, or the fall. So, you know, again, in terms of, you know, seasons where you could wear this, I do think that it does have some decent versatility. It's just more so the occasion that this would be worn. Like, I wouldn't wear this on a date. I wouldn't wear this casually. I wouldn't wear this to the gym or anything like that. Like, this is definitely more of a upper, a higher class, upscale sort of, fragrance, the way that the fragrance comes across. Now, when you get to the dry down of this fragrance, I mean, to me, this fragrance is kind of linear, but it does definitely change, from, I would say it changes the most from like the opening to like the mid. Like I said, the fruitiness from this definitely goes away after like a couple of minutes. And then it doesn't go away completely, but it's definitely in the background of, those more sort of smokier, earthier notes. Stuff like the rose, I don't really get too much rose out of this. I think if anything, I do get little hints of the oud, the leather, the musk, and the woodier notes. Not necessarily like the vanilla or the tonka. I don't really get much of that really at all from this fragrance. But yeah, man, overall, I do think that this is a very good fragrance, man. So again, I would recommend this to anyone that's looking for, a fragrance to wear to more kind of like upscale, sort of events or situations where you're going to be more dressed up. So if you don't really find yourself in those types of situations, then I would say, this is probably not a fragrance that you need to buy. But if you are somebody who likes to really get dressed up, I think that this is a good fragrance to have within your collection. All right. Now, in terms of the performance on this, the performance, just like with any Rasasi, is going to be very good on this. So when it comes to like the projection on this is quite good, at least for like the first 2.5 hours or so. So you're going to be able to get at least an arm's length of projection out of this for about that time, 2.5 hours or so. And again, I mean, the times that I've worn this, I tend to maybe go about 5 sprays or so is really all I feel like I need with this. And it never really becomes like super cloying. It's definitely a fragrance that you notice for sure, and it is there. But at least for me anyway, it never became like super heavy, in terms of how it wore on my skin. Now for the longevity on this is also going to be pretty beast mode as well. So this is definitely going to be well over 12 hours in terms of the longevity. And I remember the first time that I wore this, I sprayed it on and I maybe wore it for about 4 hours or so. And I needed to take a shower and put on something else. And I remember I scrubbed the area, like I had sprayed it on both of my arms, and I had scrubbed my arms, and like even when I got out the shower, I could still smell this on my arm. So this is a pretty, a pretty strong fragrance, when it comes to how it performs. Now, if I'm going to just give this one like an overall rating, I would give this one a solid 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's not necessarily like a fragrance that I would like signature scent and wear like every day or anything like that. And I wouldn't necessarily wear this fragrance like casually, but I do think that this is a very nice sort of, upscale type of fragrance that you could wear when you're a little bit more dressed up. All right. And again, it does come across as, a little bit more on the mature side. So like I said, I don't necessarily recommend this to anyone probably like, under 30 or under 25 or so. But, if you like more so kind of like, more mature type of scents, more sort of like grown man types of scents, then I do think that you'll like this. And again, this does come off to me as a masculine scent. So I don't necessarily, this doesn't smell like a unisex scent at all to me. This definitely smells like a more sort of masculine, mature type of scent. All right. All right. So again, I would give this one a solid 8 out of 10. I do like this one. It is very much different from, a lot of the other scents that I have in my collection. And again, I would definitely recommend this to anyone that's looking for like a more kind of grown man, mature, sort of upper scale type of scent. All right. So that is my take on Rasasi Dorar from their Tawleefa collection. Definitely let me know in the comments if you've actually smelled this fragrance, and if so, do you agree with my assessment of, you know, how this fragrance smells and how it performs? All right. So let me know in the comments below. Also, again, I will have a link in the description to where you can actually purchase this from Intense Oud. So again, shouts out to Intense Oud for sending this to me. And again, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.